I'm going to sound like a broken record to begin with, but National One really is the league that keeps on giving. At this time in the season, there always seems to be interest and intrigue, and 2024-25 is absolutely no different, especially when it comes to the title races. Round 21 served up some more twists as the top two sides failed to win. The action began on Friday night in what turned out to be a cracking contest between leaders Richmond and 8th place Birmingham Moseley at Billsley Common. Richmond found themselves 35-21 up with 10 minutes to go, but were pegged back by Birmingham Moseley as tries from Ethan Priest and Ollie Allsop brought things level. Richmond then went back on the attack in the final few moments of this one, but a late drop goal attempt from Lewis Dennett sailed wide of the target, meaning the spoils were shared between Richmond and Birmingham Moseley last Friday night, and it meant that it opened the door for second place Rotherham, who had the chance to cut Richmond's lead down from 6 points to a single point when they visited fourth place Plymouth Albion on Saturday afternoon. But right now, that is easier said than done, as an informed Albion made it 10 victories in a row as they defeated Rotherham Titans 23-20 at Brickfields. Plymouth came back from 12-3 down to lead at half-time, and tries from Harry Wilkinson and Ethan Berger either side of Rotherham captain Zach Poole being sent off for a second yellow card offence clinch yet another victory for Ryan Lamb's side. So a really good performance from Plymouth again, and Rotherham failing to close the gap to Richmond on Saturday, but the Titans did claim a losing bonus point thanks to Ronnie Durant's try 7 minutes from time. And what it all means for the standings in National One is that Richmond are now 5 points clear of Rotherham Titans with 5 games to go. But as we said on last week's show, there are still plenty of fixtures between the top 5 teams to come, including Rotherham hosting Richmond in round 25. So expect more drama over the final month of this superb campaign. Rosslyn Park are very much in the conversation as well after picking up an 8th win from their last 9 games in round 21. A fast start helped them defeat Bishop Stortford 40-28 away from home, and they are now 10 points off the leaders, while Plymouth, who we've mentioned there, are the informed side in National One, and they end this month with games against Richmond and Rosslyn Park, but more on that to come shortly. As for 5th place Rams, their difficult spell continued last weekend as they slipped to a 5th straight defeat following a frustrating 34-33 away loss at 9th placed Sedgley Park. Seb Reynolds' side had led 28-7 just after half-time, but the Tigers came roaring back. Rams did have the chance to win it following Ollie Rhodes' late try, but the conversion couldn't be added, so the Berkshire outfit now sit 13 points off the top with 25 points left to play for. Down in the other half of the table, it was also a very big weekend indeed, where Leicester Lions and Dings Crusaders picked up important victories. The Lions hammered bottom club Darlington Moden Park 75-0 at Wesley Park to end the run of 8 straight defeats, which leaves them 9 points behind 12th placed Esher, who lost 47-35 at Dings Crusaders. Back-to-back wins for Dings puts them in a very healthy position to be playing National One rugby next season. But for Leicester Lions, their win over Darlington Moden Park has boosted their survival hopes, and they'll be looking to add to that when they travel to table rivals Esher in round 22. Now, we featured the Lions on round 10's edition of the National League Rugby preview show ahead of the reverse fixture against Esher, but this time we'll be featuring Esher given the importance of this clash with just 5 games to go in the campaign. And Esher themselves this week have dubbed this weekend's clash against Leicester Lions as a nail-biter, which shows just how important it is for both teams. Now, from an Esher perspective, obviously they made an immediate return to National One last season after winning National Two East, but are determined not to yo-yo straight back down to the fourth tier, which we've seen over the last few years. So ahead of a massive game on Saturday for the club, we caught up with Esher Director of Rugby, Peter Winterbottom. Obviously, we're looking ahead to such a big game for Esher this Saturday when you guys host Leicester Lions. But I just wanted to kind of go back to kind of the start of the season, Peter. We were actually at your opening fixture against Sedgley Park, but it seems like the season has flown by since then, and with 5 games to go in the campaign, how have you kind of found this year being back in National One, Peter?
Well, yeah, I mean, we have found it quite difficult. I certainly think that the standard has been raised a notch or two from when we were last in the league, which is obviously only a couple of years ago. Um, and as a club, we've got a reasonable squad, but we've had an enormous amount of injuries this year, and it's really sort of held us back. And actually, that sort of injury problem started at the start of the season. It's a problem every club's got, but it's we seem to have had it bad this time. I mean, we've had to play, I think, about 50 players in the first team. And we've only played 21 games, so that's a lot. So it's good that a lot of guys get an opportunity, but I'd rather it was there was a bit more stability and yeah. So I'm not making excuses. It's just the way it is. But as I said, we've managed to through the games play some decent rugby and hopefully entertain our supporters. We've had some good wins and we've had some not so good games where we've fallen off a little bit in the last sort of half hour. But we'll obviously this one on Saturday is a big one for both sides.
You mentioned kind of, giving something for your supporters to get excited about. I know kind of last year when you were in National 2 East, you played some fantastic rugby at times, and it seems to have kind of translated into National 1. I think you've scored the most amount of points out of any team in the bottom half of the table. So have you had to have you changed anything majorly really from last season going into being back in National 1, or have you kind of adapted or tweaked things differently to try and sustain yourself at this level?
Well, I mean, not effectively, not really. I mean, we've worked quite a lot on the forwards, because Div 1, you need to have a forward pack that can compete, and that's all. It's so we've worked a lot on the forwards, but our style of rugby hasn't really changed. We still try and play an entertaining game, but it's more that we enjoy playing that way. I think we're actually seventh in the league for points scored, and bottom in the league for points conceded. So it's quite clear that defence has been our really big problem this season, and no doubt going into Leicester Lions, our defence is going to be absolutely crucial. I mean, Leicester are obviously playing very well at the moment, and scoring 75 against Darlington is not an easy feat. So clearly they can score points, we can score points. So I mean, I suppose it points to a game of lots of points, but you just never know. But there's no doubt that defense for us is crucial. If we can tighten up and make our tackles, then it's something we've been working on the last couple of weeks, concentrating on, and it's going to make it a lot easier for us. It's a crucial game for both teams. I mean, it's one of those sort of must win games. So if we win by 1 point and don't play particularly expansive rugby, I'll be very happy. So we'll see how the game goes.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, we're kind of from a neutral perspective, Peter. This league continues to entertain. The last few years, things whether it's promotion or relegation have gone down to the final day, and we've kind of touched on kind of the amount of points you've been able to score this season and sort of the defensive record of some of the teams in the league as well. But it just seems to be a league that keeps on giving, Peter, doesn't it? At this level of English rugby.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I think, I mean, I think it's a great league. There's some good players, and a lot of good players, and it's a league, it's the sort of, well, I suppose could say some of the championship is semi-pro, but I think Div One is a really really good league on its own, and there's every game is tough. And I mean that you go to Darlington, you have a hard time, and they're bottom of the league. But no, and I mean obviously we've picked off Birmingham this year, and also Rosslyn Park, which were good wins for us, and it shows that the boys in the bottom of the league can match on their day the boys at the top of the league. I think it's a great league, and I think more professional players will look at the Div One and go, well, actually, I can finish playing my pro rugby, late 20s or mid 20s, and think, well, I can, get a career and play Div One. I mean, we're very lucky at Esher that we're on the train line, so a lot of boys who are in London, who have got big jobs, can hop on the train at Clapham Junction, and 20 minutes later they're at the club, and that's a massive bonus for us. But yeah, I mean, it's I think that more guys are going to look at it that way, and especially that a lot of young good players are going to universities now, and the university rugby is very good, and they come out of that, and they're quality players, and obviously a lot of them come down to London for work, and hopefully they'll look at Esher and go, well, that's a nice club to join.
Definitely, and I've seen some great stuff coming out from a couple of the lads who've done interviews this season, saying that the environment at the club at the moment is a really strong one, despite kind of the difficulties you've had with injuries and the league positions, Peter. So, can that environment be a real kind of key thing when you go into a big game like this? That everyone is on the same page, everyone is still turning up to Tuesday and Thursday in good spirits, despite maybe things not going your way. So, can that help going into such a big game like Saturday?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right. They have a very good social scene. The boys enjoy their own company. They are a tight group. They have some very good nights out, and it makes a difference. They've got to enjoy each other's company, and hopefully that will show on the pitch. So yeah, I mean it's a nice environment, and hopefully that will count for us.
Yeah, and I'm sure the lads will be looking to pull together more so than ever against Leicester Lions on Saturday, especially at home, Peter, because I know obviously things haven't gone your way at home, certainly over the last three games. But if you were able to put that record right on Saturday, would it be the biggest result of the season for you guys, do you think?
I think at the moment, as it stands, yes, I think it would be. Yeah. We want to become a good Div One side, and obviously to do that, we've got to stay in the league. And this is a crucial game for us to make sure we're in the league next year. And so he couldn't get a bigger game really.
And just finally, Peter, I've seen kind of on social media last night that the club have been describing it as a nail biter, trying to build up the excitement for the weekend. I mean, how important is it to kind of have your fans down at Moseley Road on Saturday, get through the gate early and try and really ramp up the atmosphere? Because obviously it's a big day anyway for you guys as a club. I know Six Nations will be being shown in the clubhouse afterwards, but if
Yeah.
everyone can get behind the team, I'm sure that is kind of they can act as the proverbial 16th man, if you like.
Well, yes, I mean we are lucky in a way at each that we do get good support, from the members and from sort of local people, and yeah, so the crowd numbers have generally been pretty good this year, and it would be really nice to get a big crowd, and for the crowd to get behind the boys on Saturday. I mean, I know that they appreciate it, and it's a good atmosphere when we get a decent crowd. So yeah, so hopefully they'll all come down, please.
So a big thanks to Peter for his time earlier on in the week. And if you didn't need it already, you do get the sense that it is such a big game for both Esher and Leicester Lions on Saturday. So why not head down to Molesey Road if you are in the area to see what all the fuss is about. It is a 2:45 p.m. kickoff for this one. And just a stat which may encourage Esher fans going into this one. They did beat Leicester Lions 36-31 back in November, and a similar outcome on Saturday would be a significant step towards safety for Esher in National 1, and a result like that would also confirm the relegation of bottom club Darlington Moden Park, regardless of the outcome from their clash against Bishop Stortford. The DMP supporters are still sticking with their side after what has been a really tough campaign for them, while Stortford will go to the northeast after a block of recent fixtures against the leading pack. In terms of the title race, then we teased it earlier on, but Plymouth Albion do go to league leaders Richmond in round 22. Richmond beat Plymouth 2015 in the reverse meeting at Brickfields in November, and a similar outcome would feel like a major tick in the box for Rob Powell's side. But we know, based on their recent wins against Rams and Rotherham, that Albion are keen to have a say in this promotion battle, and we are set for another cracking fixture in National 1. And when they were at Plymouth last week, Rotherham Titans may have been asking Albion for a favour in round 22, because as we said, Plymouth play Richmond this week. But of course, Rotherham themselves will be fully focused on their task in hand when they take on Sedgley Park on Saturday. The Titans have won their last 7 at Clifton Lane, but won't be taking Sedge lightly, who come into this one after successive wins over Blackheath and Rams, respectively. Scott Barrow's side, who have lost just twice since December, are certainly in a good moment, as are third place Roslyn Park, who'll be looking to protect their unbeaten run at the Rock. They'll be seeking a 10th home win in a row when they host Birmingham Moseley, who will arrive in the capital in high spirits after an excellent second half showing against Richmond last time out. Elsewhere, Rams will be looking for a morale-boosting victory when Seb Reynolds' side visit Blackheath, who returned to winning ways last week with a strong 33-19 win away at Sale FC. While Sale FC themselves, they are back at Hayward Road and looking for a response when they host a Dings Crusaders outfit who'll be targeting a third straight success.